Okay, we're going to take a look at how to create actions that will save you time. Anything that saves you from repetitive keystrokes that you do over and over again is going to save you a lot of time. So we're going to take a look at the Actions panel, which is over here under this icon right here. If you don't have this icon showing on this toolbar, then you can always go up to Window, pull it down, and click Actions, and that's the same palette. I want to delete these because I'm going to make them for this tutorial. So you may or may not have a secondary folder. You probably will see a folder called Default Actions, and if you open it, you're going to see all kinds of goodies here, and I suggest and recommend highly that you play around with these and see what they all do. They're all actions that do different things that would take you maybe 5, 10, even 15 minutes to do, but you just simply click on it and click play, and it runs a whole series of keystrokes and actions for you. So that's under the default actions. We're going to create a new folder called My Actions. The way to do that is to come down here to the Create New Set, click on that, name it My Actions or whatever name you want to give it, and click OK, and that will show up here. And this is the folder that you're going to keep all of your custom actions that you create in. So before we create our first action, we need to go over here actually, and we need to change and modify a setting. So click on Edit, come down to Preferences, and down to Units and Rulers. We need to change the rulers units from pixels or whatever you have. It just needs to be % for now. We'll change it back in a minute, but for this action we need to have that set to %. Click OK. Now the action we're going to create is an action that will allow us, that will create centered guides for us. Sometimes, well, for me, whenever I open up a document, I always want centered guides on it, whether I use them or not. So I have to come up here and click View and come down, create a new guide for the vertical and a new guide for the horizontal, and center them, and so forth and so on. But with my action, I just come over here, click the action, click play, and it's done in one stroke. So now that we have the preferences set, we'll come over here to our action palette and come down, and we're going to create a new action. Click on that icon, and let's name this Centered Guides. And when you click on record, it will start recording, but it's not recording like you might think of a video recorder. It's waiting for me to activate a keystroke or a brush or some kind of a tool, and to actually use that tool. It'll record that action. But if I'm just sitting here, it's not actually recording anything. It's not recording my cursor moving around, for example. So the first action we want to record is to come up here to View. We're going to come down to New Guide. Vertical is fine, and we're going to make this 50%, so that will always be halfway, whatever size your document is, halfway vertically through the document page. Click OK, and you'll see there is the vertical guide at exactly 50% of the width of this document. The next one, we're going to come up, do the same thing, View, New Guide. This time it's going to be horizontal and still 50%. And we say OK. Now we have our it adds our two actions over here, and what I like about this is they're highly documented. You can open up this action, and you can see this is creating an action. It's a new guide at position 50%, orientation vertical. You open this one, it says the same thing except orientation horizontal. So that's really nice that it has it all documented, and you know exactly what it is that it's going to be doing. So now that we have that done, I'm going to stop the recording of actions, because I'm going to close this and not save it, and I don't want that to be part of the action recorded for this Centered Guides. Okay, so I click on Stop. Now it's not going to record anymore, and I come up here, I can close this, don't need to save it, and then just to check to see if this is working, let's first go back and reset our preferences to the units and rulers to pixels and say OK. And now when we open a new document at a different size, that one that we had was 800 by 600. So let's open one that's 640 by 480. And if we press our centered guides and we hit play, it should give us centered guides, which it does. And no matter what size document you're going to use, this will always give you centered guides. Now, if I had left the preferences of units to be pixels, I just want you to know this so you can save yourself a lot of heartache in the future. If that had stayed pixels, and I had gone ahead and done this, recorded my action, come up here and said, okay, my first action is going to be a new guide, 50%, blah, blah, blah. I could have actually put percents in here, 50% vertical, and hit OK. But what would have happened is it would have converted that into the pixel width for 50% of this document. In other words, it would have had 330 whatever pixels here. And then if I had done the horizontal, it would have done the same thing. So it would have recorded that exact pixel width and dimension. And when I had tried to create centered guides on another size document, it would have been off. So you need to. That's why you need to change that preference to percent before you do this one. I hope that was helpful. Check back often. There'll be many more tutorials from Max Height Web and Design Studio. Thanks for watching.